This is John with a Major League Baseball playoff race update going into August 14th. Calculations are from the web app at playoffcomputer.appspot.com. If you play fantasy sports, particularly football, or other sport leagues with head-to-head schedules, I invite you to check out that free tool for creating playoff race drama for your league. This video series and the companion playoff race podcast, currently available on Spotify and Apple, are a relatively new venture, so if you find this at all interesting, please share, like, comment, whatever. It would be appreciated. If you want to encourage me or find the web app entertaining, there are some options on the site to do so, which would be doubly appreciated. Now let's get into it. In the American League, here are the latest odds for each team to make the playoffs. These are based on a coin flip probability of either team in a game winning and not weighted towards a quote-unquote better team. In the AL East, the Orioles and Rays continue playing well on their way to locking up postseason spots. The Orioles just took 2 or 3 from the Mariners on the start of a road trip and have a favorable upcoming schedule that should result in at least being able to start shopping for the champagne. The Rays start a big 6-game West Coast road trip, visiting the Giants and Angels. I mentioned last time if some of the chasing teams were looking for a way back into the fight, the Rays schedule the rest of the year only has 3 games against any team resembling a pushover. The Blue Jays were the big loser over the weekend, dropping 2 of 3 against the Cubs, and they have now lost 4 of their last 6. Their loss was the Red Sox gain. The Red Sox took 2 of 3 from the Tigers after taking 3 of 4 from the Royals. They now have a big road trip. I'll go into more details about them and the Blue Jays in a moment, as well about the Yankees, who are now 5 games back in the wild card race, but have a golden opportunity in the remaining schedule to make a run. More again in a moment. In the Central, the Twins continue to just barely hold off the Guardians, or maybe more accurately, the Guardians continue to make no attempts to scare the Twins. Those 2 teams have 6 remaining games. Otherwise, Cleveland has a much tougher remaining schedule on paper. The Tigers have a mini series against the Twins, followed by 4 at Cleveland for maybe their last chance at a miracle run. In the West, the Rangers just took 2 of 3 from the Giants and have gone 18-9 since the All-Star break. They now have the Angels at home for 3. No real reason right now to worry about them. The Astros went 6-4 against the Yankees, Orioles, and Angels. Things don't get much easier upcoming, but they also shouldn't have too many worries. The Mariners dropped 2 10-inning heartbreakers against the Orioles to end their big winning streak. They now have a long road trip to try and get back their mojo. The Angels, well, what else to say? They salvaged the finale of their series against the Astros, but as I'll show in a second, maybe too little, too late. It continues to look like 88 wins will likely be needed for a wild card spot. The Orioles, Rangers, and Rays continue to march towards that, though as I mentioned, the Rays schedule may present a challenge. The Astros and Blue Jays should just need to play around 500 ball the rest of the way. The rest of the group has some work to do. I have moved the Angels over to my realistically eliminated column. And of course, all the teams in the AL Central are unlikely to get to the wild card mark. But it looks like 84 will be around what is needed for the division, so the Guardians and even the Tigers aren't completely out of hope yet. Here's the AL projections, both from my strength of schedule formula along with those from team rankings. Thanks to them for letting me use their numbers. You can check out all their data and tools at teamrankings.com. No major differences here, although they have the AL East a little differently. The strength of schedule projections show Baltimore taking the division handily. They have it ending up as a tie between the Orioles and Rays. Now let's look at the team currently holding the last wildcard spot, the Blue Jays, and the 3 teams closest that are chasing them, Mariners, Red Sox, and Yankees. In particular, the Yankees. They have the best opportunity among the chasers to improve their chances by beating up on competitors. They have 7 remaining versus the Red Sox and 6 remaining against the Blue Jays. If they manage to go 9-4 over those games, then basically everything would be about even. With the Red Sox having the toughest remaining schedule on paper, this race could get very interesting. The Mariners, on one hand, stay out of those brawls between the AL East teams, and they have what looks on paper to be an easy upcoming schedule, but they'll need to take advantage of some of the lesser teams as they finish the season with Rangers, Astros, Rangers. They'll also be wishing that the AL East teams just beat each other up. So let's see what the Yankees do this week. They start with the Braves and then do get those Red Sox this weekend at home. Over in the National League, starting with the NL East, the Braves are rolling along. Looks like they could clinch a spot in early September even. The Phillies dropped 2 of 3 against the Twins, but continue to have a fairly firm grip on a wildcard spot. The Marlins have won 4 of 5 to end a truly awful stretch, but they now face the Astros and Dodgers this week. In the Central, the Brewers were the big winners of late, taking 5 of 6 from the Rockies and White Sox. They now have a week of Dodgers and Rangers to test their mettle. Cubs hanging right there, took 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays. Nice upcoming schedule I'll talk about in a minute. The Reds have partially recovered from the recent nosedive, but have a crucial road trip coming up. In the West, the Dodgers are virtual locks, but the Giants, as I warned what could be a possibility, have been stumbling with a tough stretch of opponents, and it ain't over yet for them. The Diamondbacks won their last 2 to stop a 9-game losing streak. They do get a chance this week to make a run. The Padres have lost 6 of 7 to just about end any dreams. The projections are still showing around 85 wins needed to get a wild card, but there is opportunity for that to sink to just above 500. The Braves and Dodgers can play pitiful baseball and still make it. The Brewers and Phillies are set up to not need to work too hard. The Marlins, Cubs, Reds, Diamondbacks, and Padres still have some hills to climb, some more than others. Here's the NL projections from me and those from Team Rankings. The big difference between the two remains centered around the Marlins, Cubs, and Reds projected marks, with them showing the Padres playing inspired ball to finish above 500. The strength of schedule-based projections have it being a dead heat for the last 2 spots. So let's look at this wildcard race and why it could go all topsy-turvy on us. Assuming the Phillies are relatively safe for a spot, that leaves, realistically, at least for argument's sake, not including the Padres, 5 teams playing for 2 spots. The thing I want to point out is that the teams at the top of the list, Giants and Marlins, have some of the toughest remaining schedules. The Giants now get to play the Rays, Braves, Phillies, Braves, and Reds. The Marlins week will be Astros and Dodgers. Meanwhile, the Cubs right behind them get the White Sox, Royals, Tigers, and Pirates, with the Reds having an easy rest of schedule on paper anyway. So it should be no surprise if in a week's time this wildcard race looks like the teams were put through an automatic shuffler. The Diamondbacks have the Rockies and Padres this week before things toughen up a bit. They're going to need to take advantage of that to have a chance before things get brutal afterwards. That's it for now. Thanks again to TeamRankings.com. Again, my site is playoffcomputer.appspot.com. Enjoy your day.